Let me tell you a story. It's about a movie based on a video game. Started in 2017 and was released. And then in 2020, they put it on YouTube. And I've watched that movie. The movie's about two girls, Chloe and Max, in a very familiar story, a familiar setting to Life is Strange. Except it's not the Pacific Northwest at all. It's fucking Iowa! They filmed this shit like 2 hours from here. Like, that just blew my mind. I saw that in the credits and they're like, Cedar Falls. And I'm like, I know where that's at. That's crazy. I just think that's so cool that a Life is Strange film was filmed somewhere near here. That's very inspiring, you know what I mean? Anyway. So, yeah, we're talking the Life is Strange film today. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, it's very similar adaptation-wise. It adapts the game pretty well. They cut a lot of stuff, a lot of the crazier stuff, the nightmare sequence. Notable spoilers for the movie, by the way, and the game. Notably, Mr. Jefferson is cut entirely. I don't think they even mention him or bring him up at all. Whereas Nathan is more so the villain this time, and his father kind of pushes him to be better and stuff, but he's an asshole like he is in the games. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I think he's an asshole in the games too, but I feel like he's more of an asshole in this movie because he takes on part of Mr. Jefferson's role, you know, telling him like, don't call me in public and all that shit. So, yeah, with the omission of Mr. Jefferson, that's an interesting way to take the story, because a lot of that, then the blame gets put on Nathan, and even though he is in some regards a sympathetic character because of his father, because of all that, he still did terrible things. He still killed Rachel by accident, of course, and took weird pictures of other girls and stuff. Not that he didn't do that in the game, but by the end of the game, especially with that voicemail that you hear at the end of the game, right before you find out that he's dead, or no, you would have figured that out. Sorry, right after you know he's dead already. After you get out of the dark room, there, it's a really nice emotional moment in the midst of many emotional moments. About how Nathan, not that he's not necessarily a good person or anything, like, I mean, he's not, but he did bad things, but then he was like, I'm sorry, Max, you know, everyone kind of screwed me over and blah, 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 and I don't know. He felt some remorse for his actions, so, you know, I take that into account. Not that you have to have a sympathetic villain. There is ways to do just pure evil villains, but I think more Mr. Jefferson is just a good case of pure evil villains. I just saw a video on that the other day about that, like how you can do pure evil versus sympathetic, and I think this game definitely has Nathan as the sympathetic character, and then it has Mr. Jefferson as the sort of pure evil villain there. So the game did it both, but obviously this now adapts that, so where it's a 2-hour long movie. Fan-made movie, by the way, I should mention. So, any criticism I would have of said movie, which I don't have many, or anything that you would think or it would come off as negative, you gotta take it in the context of this is a fan film, and I'm very impressed with what they did. I love what they did. I love the movie just because it exists, you know? But at the same time, when you're such a fan of the game and you know all about the game, a lot of that got adapted, so it's just a lot of the same dialogue from the game, which is what we want, right? We want it to be a good adaptation of Life is Strange. But at the same token, not that it's boring, but it's pretty samey, you know? You already kind of know what to expect from that side of the story. And there's some tweaks, some changes, little bit of difference here and there. I feel like the actresses all portray actors and actresses. Obviously, there's like Nathan and stuff as guys. It's a very female-centric movie, though. Every person who was an actor or actress in this movie did a really good job for, you know, for this being a fan film. It felt real. It felt believable. One of the strengths of doing a Life is Strange movie is that it is, in a lot of ways, a pretty down-to-earth character piece of a movie. More so than, I don't know, adapting like Mega Man or something, you know, like, it's a lot easier to just do this movie because a lot of it is based on reality. You know, the timey-wimey stuff is where it kind of goes off the rails, but you can still do that with simple sort of effects like they did here, and it works pretty well. But the core of Life is Strange is always the characters and the story and how the characters interact and feel about certain situations. It's always more so about the characters. It was never really about the powers. The powers were more a device. Chloe even says that in the movies, you know, you're more than your powers. And she probably says that in the game somewhere too, but yeah. And the fact that it's a movie versus a game, you don't get to be making the choices. They get to choose the canon, quote-unquote, choices of what they believe to be the story, or what they wanted to adapt as the story. For instance, Kate dies in this. I always thought in the game, maybe just because that was my first playthrough, that's a more impactful first playthrough because you get to feel the weight of that the entire game. But it's just a small piece of a bigger story. You only have 2 hours to do this. 2 hours to adapt a 20-hour game, you know? To where they cut a lot of stuff there, you know, obviously. But they got all of, I feel like, the significant stuff there, and even added in a couple of other things. There's some great scenes. Like, the iconic pool scene is missing, but they kind of replace it with a different scene where they're near this lake, and there's, they're on this tree where everyone has, like, carved their names and stuff. And, Chloe carves their name into the tree, and, right before they kiss for the first time in the movie. And then later, when Max rewinds to have the, original timeline where Chloe dies, she actually goes back to the tree and carves their name, or, well, she carves Chloe's name in there. She carves Chloe Price forever. And, that's kind of where the movie ends. But also, that ending is very different. You know, it's not like frickin' Chloe Price funeral ending, you know, or whatever. It's Kate and Max optimistically sitting there in her room, kind of packing up. They just graduated kind of thing, or they're going to graduate soon, talking about this party. And Kate's like, you know what, I'm doing a lot better. But Max is finally the one who's like, I'm not doing so well. And Kate sits there and talks it over with her. Because in the game, it's mostly about you trying to tell Kate, like, everything's going to be okay. But, you know, not that Kate never comforts you, but this really felt like a nice full circle moment. Kate is comforting Max in her hardship times, you know, and it's maybe implied, maybe something's going on there, like, you know, like it was with Chloe and Max there. So, yeah, but a lot of things they kind of speed up. You know, they still do the whole Rachel Amber storyline. Obviously, that's really integral to Chloe's story. And there is a Before the Storm film as well that I am going to review in the future here. Um, which I also remember being pretty good, but it's also longer than this movie, which was already 2 hours long, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, I mean, so there were changes. You know, Victoria isn't quite as big. She has like one or two scenes, like tops. Nathan is the big deal in this one. Frank shows up for like one scene and everything's kind of resolved. I mean, he's in two scenes really because Chloe gets shot and they have to rewind. Um, so, but then they get Frank to, you know, be okay with Chloe through one scene and all of her debt and all of that, you know. Just kind of gets hand waved away because they tell him that they're going after Nathan because of what he did to Rachel Amber. So, or, you know, what they believe that he did to Rachel Amber. They break into the Blackwell, that's still there. You know, all of those kind of scenes are still there. Um, it's just a little bit differently paced. You know, they don't have like the big Vortex Club party or a lot of that ending stuff, the dark room, all of that's kind of cut out, streamlined a little bit, you know. And in some sense that kind of pulls back the scale of it, but I don't mind that because it actually helps focus in on the characters, even though they do that great in the game too. It's just, I think both work, you know, and this works as a tribute to the game, you know. It's a fan film. That's what it's meant to do. It's supposed to um, capture the spirit of the game, but as an interpreted, you know, work of art there. And I think they did a really great job. And knowing that it was filmed near here just makes it like even so much better. Um, it'd be cool to like see if I could go and find some of that one weekend or something like where they filmed it or something. That'd be pretty cool. Um, but yeah. Anyway, um, I don't know. I think it's good. I liked their like the characters actually look a lot like I mean Max and Chloe at least look a lot like Max and Chloe. Rachel's good. They did a scene with William. Oh, I should talk about that scene because she goes back into the photo, and that's a big part of the game. There's a whole alternate reality and all of that stuff. They don't do any of that. They just do one scene with her back in time, and then older Max comes to tell her, "Hey, I've tried this like 1,000 times. You can't just throw away these keys. It doesn't work. You can't save William." So they kind of speed that up to like one scene, but it's a nice scene because it kind of captures and puts into context for our Max in our timeline that Chloe has to die and she has to go back and let Chloe die, you know, and all of that. So that's nice. I mean, I like that a lot. But anyway, yeah, just little changes like that are nice. Um, I feel like it's a really solid adaptation of Life is Strange, and isn't that the point of a fan film and a video game movie to begin with? Is just adapt your source material well, which I think they definitely did a good job with. Visually, a lot of the stuff looks very on point to, you know, Life is Strange. You still get those same vibes. The music, they put a lot of indie music in there. They didn't use any of the songs from the game because copyright. Obviously, they did get mountains though at you know when they find Rachel or whatever. So that's pretty cool. But other than that, they showcased like more local talent, you know, to I don't know, to show that off, just to give a similar vibe. It was nice though. I liked the music. It really fit well. It still gave the same vibe. I think that's good. I think they did a good job with that, you know, so um, props for that. As an adaptation, on the whole, they definitely did a good job. Like I said, like I think they kind of captured Life is Strange. I wouldn't show somebody who hasn't played the game this, but for fans of the game, um, which is kind of the point of a video game movie or a movie based on a property like that, is that you would have played the game first and then you come back to watch the movie. Um, but yeah, I think it's was done really well, and I think it definitely still holds up in terms of. I mean, I would put it like pretty high praise, like top tier fan films up there with like especially adapting stuff. I mean, like Press Start had its own thing. It was referencing stuff. Like I would definitely give that a high tier thing because that's a great movie, just in its own right. And it adapted a lot of things. It didn't even adapt things. It really just like referenced things. You know, it's a little bit different, and it was kind of its own story. But in terms of like a straight adaptation, this might be like the best video game movie adaptation done by fans like ever, and maybe just in general. Like we got a lot of contenders, like I mean, okay, just one contender this year, really. I was just thinking there's a lot of great movies this year that came out, but the Super Mario Brothers movie is a pretty sweet adaptation of Super Mario Brothers. But, that's a Hollywood thing. They had a whole budget and they had a whole studio to make that and everything. This is a fan film, and I think for that it was done really well, and I think I just appreciate the effort. As somebody who used to try to make movies, um, unsuccessfully, by the way, and fan films especially, our infamous Resident Evil film, uh, that probably nobody remembers because we didn't really put that much up about it, but it's not easy to do, and the effort there is insane, and just to see that they adapted it even partially, you know, and even if it held like just the smallest amount to the game, but it goes above and beyond that. I feel like it definitely adapts. It's like a greatest hits moment adaptation of things from the game, in a lot of ways. And what they could get away with adapting into their own story without like blowing up the budget, I'm assuming, so but I like it. Stylistically it works. The actors acting is usually pretty on point. There's some times when you're just like, oh, that's a little, but it doesn't feel amateurish at most times. I mean, you get the sense that it's not exactly like a high budget Hollywood movie, but that's part of the charm, I very much appreciate that. I appreciate that even somebody so close within my own state, went above and beyond to try and make something like that, The ambition there is just so commendable. I love these people for making this, bravo, or brava, because mostly female cast. Good job, good job at adapting a beloved franchise and not fucking it up, like clearly there was love and fandom imbued into this film because they cared, and that's what matters at the end of the day, is they cared and they adapted it in a really good way. And I think it's really cool, that we have a movie like this. Because I doubt, for a long time we're ever going to see a Life is Strange film. And then even then, it's like, how would you even do that? I mean, you could do that. I don't know. For something that was only 2 hours and a little bit of change long, it's like you crunched all of that down and you still made it feel like the same story, but with its own twist. And really that's what Hollywood would have done anyway, and they probably would have made it like 3 hours long or something. So I think it was the right length for what it was. And I think definitely they did a really great job with it, is all I'm trying to get across here. Like I said, the actors and actresses were good. The music was on point. It gave the same good vibes. The setting and the landscape and the scenes and whatnot, everything was shot very well. It was done well. It felt very similar, visually, So, yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to say about it. It's just a great adaptation of Life is Strange. And at the end of the day, that's all you really need. And I'm pretty sure it's still up on YouTube, so you can go just watch it. It's called What If, by the way. I don't even know if I ever mentioned that yet. What If, which was the original name for Life is Strange, before they changed it to Life is Strange. So yeah, great movie. Very good, very well done. Good props to the people who made it, Great. Excellent. You did a good job. Especially for a fan film. You adapted this shit, like, really on point. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all there is to really say about it. It's great. So I'm gonna give Life is Strange, the fan film, a 9.5 out of 10. Let's just go there. So, yeah, really solid. So until next time, stick around for more movies and fan films and video game movie stuff, Life is Strange stuff. I mean, we still gotta cover the second movie, and then we still gotta cover True Colors, and that's pretty much it, though. I mean, Life is Strange is slowly coming to an end for content, so, but, yeah, so, until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Finn, or whatever the closing for this thing is. Jay-Z out, I guess. Bye.